Hi everyone, today we are going to talk again about circles. So this is week 6. For this, we are going to focus on the squared button and the square root buttons in our calculator because our formula is a little bit different. So our formula for the area, we're going to talk about the area of a circle, is pi r squared. Okay, so our area is pi r squared. Now r squared is r times r, but you do have a squared button in your calculator. It looks like x squared. So I'll show you where that is on the computer calculator. And then if you have any questions on your personal calculator, you can ask me during your live sessions. Now, this is the radius. So we might have to use this formula if they gave us the diameter. We might have to cut the diameter in half. Diameter divided by 2 is the same thing as the radius. All right, looking at our first example. So they want us to find the area of a circle with a radius of 2 feet. So area is pi r squared. So 3.14 times 2 squared. Remember, you can also do 3.14 times 2 times 2. You'll get the same answer, or you could use the squared button in your calculator. So if I go to the computer calculator here, I'm going to clear out everything that I've done previous. Okay, so 3.14 times 2, 3.14 times 2, this, x squared right there, that is your squared button, so squared. And then hit the equal sign, and it gives me 12.56. So 12.56 feet squared. They didn't tell me how to round, so I'm just going to leave it as 12.56. But like I said, you could do the same thing. You could do 3.14 times 2 times 2. You could just double the 2 instead of squaring it, and you'll get the same answer. All right, looking at the next example. So this one, they do want us to round, and they want us to round to the nearest tenth. So that's 1 decimal place. So that's going to matter for us in our answers. So for the first one, they gave us the radius is 6. So that's great. I can plug it right into my formula. So this is 3.14 times 6 squared. So if I go to my calculator, clear everything out, 3.14 times 6, and right here, once again, is my squared button. So squared. Hit equals, and I get 113.04. Now, since they want me to round to 1 decimal place, the 4 doesn't actually round up at all the zeros, so this would just be 113.0 or 113 centimeters squared. You don't need the 0.0 part. Part B is a little bit different because they gave me the diameter. So the diameter is 7. Okay, so to find the radius, I have to take the diameter, which is 7, and divide by 2, which gives me 3.5. Go into my formula here. My formula is that area is pi r squared. So 3.14 times 3.5 squared. Okay, so if I go into my calculator here, so that's 3.14 times 3.5, and remember this right here is my squared button. Hit equals, and I get 38.465. So area is 38.465. They want me to round to the nearest tenth, so that's 1 decimal place. The 6 does round up the 4, so 38.5 meters squared. Area is always squared meters. All right, looking at example 3, they gave me that the diameter is 16, so I have to find the radius for our area formula. So I take the diameter and I divide by 2, it gives me 8. Find the area. Area is pi r squared, so 3.14 times 8 squared, or times 8 times 8. Clear this out. 3.14 times 8 squared. 200.96. So area is 200.96. I'm going to continue rounding to the nearest tenth. So the 6 is going to round up the 9, but then what ends up happening is the 9 ends up rounding to a 10, which adds an extra digit. So it's 201 centimeters squared. All right, for finding the missing radius and diameter, so these we actually have to work backwards. So these are going to use the square root button in our calculator to do that. So what we're first going to do is we're going to write down the area formula. Area is pi r squared. Plug in the area. So 72 is my area. I'm going to plug that in for area. Pi is 3.14, radius squared. First thing you want to do is you want to get the 3.14 on the other side. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3.14. So 72 divided by 3.14. Okay, it's going to give me some crazy long decimal, and that's what r squared is going to be. So I'm just going to write out a couple digits. It's like 22.929936, so on. Now, the last thing you need to do is you have to take the square root of both sides to figure out what the radius is by itself, because a square root and a square cancel each other. So that's very interesting. So how to find the square root in a regular calculator is you would hit the second button first, then you would hit the x squared button. Now, to do it on our computer calculators, I'll show you what that looks like. So let me clear out everything we've done. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit this button. So you're going to type in the number, which is 22.929936, and then hit this square root button. And it gives it to you. It's 4.788. We'll round it to 4.788, and they want us to round it to the nearest hundredth. So that means it's going to be that my radius is 4.79 inches. And the diameter, I would take that and I would multiply by 2. So 4.79 times 2 is going to give me a diameter of 9.58 inches. All right, let's look at the next one. So start with our area formula. So our area formula is pi r squared. Plug in what we know. So we know 32. 32 equals 3.14 is my pi, radius squared. Divide by 3.14. So 32 divided by 3.14. That gives me a really long decimal, and that's what radius squared is. So it's 10.1910828. And I can show you what that would look like too on the calculator. If I was to do that division on the calculator, it'd be 32 divided by 3.14, and it gives me this really long decimal. And then what you actually can do on your calculator, if you're going to use your computer calculator, you can just press that square root button. So you don't have to worry about plugging it back in. So I can just press that square root button right away, and it gives me 3.19. So radius is 3.19. So it might actually be easier for the IXLs that you guys are going to do to use the calculator on the computer. And then the diameter, I would just take this number and multiply by 2. It gives me 6.385, so 6.38 or 6.39, they're both okay, yards. So either one of those. All right, so to show you again what I did. Okay, what I did is I took the area that they gave me. Okay, I took the area that they gave me, which was 32. I divide by 3.14, and then I hit the square root button, which is right there. Gives me the radius. If they want the diameter, I multiply by 2. Voila. All right, I'll show you a little bit more on the Teams chat in a little bit. Okay, I'll show you how to do that. I look forward to talking to you. Bye, guys.